I am one of the program coordinators for Orientation 2018 this year, and I have a panel of students that'll help us here today. If you could all introduce yourselves, let us know a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name's Alyssa. I'm majoring in neuroscience on the pre-med track with minors in communication studies and chemistry. I am from Miami, Florida, and I am a commuter student.
Hi, my name is Raymond. I'm a rising junior. My majors are marine science and physics with a minor in math. I have two jobs on campus, and I used to live in the dorms, but now I'm a commuter.
Hi, I'm Christy. I'm a rising senior and I'm a public health major. I'm a commuter student from Miami.
Awesome. So I'm going to start us off with a couple of questions, but just like all our other webinars, if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat option to the side of your screen to ask us anything, and we'll be taking questions towards the end. So I'm going to start off with, from what you remember, what was it like coming to UM for cane kickoff and for the first week of school?
I remember it being really overwhelming. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anyone on my floor. No one on my floor knew anyone else. Um, there was so many things going on all at the same time. I wanted to do everything, but I couldn't do anything that I wanted to. It was just like a big mess of I'm new here, but I want to do this, but I want to do that, and it was just there was a lot going on.
Going off of that, I would say that it's okay to feel overwhelmed during orientation. The purpose of orientation is to flood you with information so that you are the most prepared self you could be heading into college. So it's okay if you feel that way. I felt that way. It's important to just like take a beat and try to take in as much as possible.
Yeah, I also felt that way too, but at the same time, you kind of have the excitement of like that you're coming to college, it's going to be a new experience. And I remember being excited to meet new people. And during orientation, you do get to meet a lot of people. I was put as a commuter student in my group. I was able to make a lot of friends that I'm still friends with till this day. So even though you do feel overwhelmed, there is something to look forward to kind of continue on to the future.
So I know that it's probably been a little while, but I'm going to ask you to try and remember what high school was like. And these students are just coming from high school and they're going to start college. Others are transfers. But what was the transition like from high school to college, and maybe like a couple of tips that you might have to be successful within those first 2 weeks here at Miami?
Okay, I'll go first. So I went through to a tiny little school. It was a K through 12 center, so I was literally with people that I knew my entire life. And even though UM is relatively small compared to like state schools, it was ginormous. So that transition for me was probably a little more difficult than it should have been. But overall, it was honestly like there's no other word I could think of except for refreshing. It's so nice to be with new faces, and in those like first few months of college, honestly throughout college, it's you have this like ability to literally walk up to anybody and be like, "Hi, I'm Christy. I'm a public health major. Who are you?" And like connect with someone, and it's great. So the transition, although it's incredibly different maybe than what you're coming from, like don't fear it. Just go with the flow and be okay.
Yeah, I'd say going off of that, the biggest part of the transition for me was like newfound freedom, where like I was living, like I had a single, so I didn't have a roommate. I didn't have anyone looking over my shoulder, like, all right, now it's time for class. Okay, now it's time to eat. And so it was a lot of, I actually have to like be my own adult, figure out what I want to do today, figure out how I want to do everything. And like, I'd say the biggest tip that I have is just trust your gut. Like, if you know, like, I can't study 3 weeks in advance, I need to study the night before, then like, don't let anyone tell you you have to study 3 weeks in advance. Like, just trust yourself, do what you want to do, and you'll get through it.
Yeah, my transition was kind of like Christie's. I went to a small private all girls school, so I didn't even have guys with me for 4 years. So I remember that being like, oh, I'm sitting next to my first guy in 4 years. So it was kind of like a little overwhelming for me. But yeah, I think agreeing with Christy and Raymond, the biggest issue for me was like that newfound freedom. I was basically kept in a little square for 8 hours per day, basically being told what to do. So my tip would be kind of know yourself and know how not to get overwhelmed by that freedom, and also don't get too involved with classes and stuff to kind of fill up that extra time that you might feel like. Just take a step back. You have some time to relax, to study, and kind of just be aware of yourself and know your limits when it comes to filling up that free time.
Yeah, so I'm getting a general theme of like balance and being able to like just figure things out for yourself for the first time. Yeah, it can be a little overwhelming, but you can definitely do it. Can you take us through a typical day at UM for you?
Okay, I can start off with that. A typical day for me, I'm a commuter, so I arrive on campus, and my first place that I love to go to is Einstein Bagels. I get my coffee, I get my bagel. I also get to see Mary Jo, who calls me her baby cake. She is the best. If I highly recommend going to Einstein's just to meet Mary Jo. And then from there, I'll get my coffee kick and I'll go to class. Usually go to class until around lunchtime. At lunchtime, depending on the day of the week, I'll meet up with friends. And then after that, I go back into my classes.
Okay, so I guess every day is kind of different for me. It depends like honestly, what semester everything shifts around. But this past semester, I would work from the age of 3 to 5 on like their cognitive learning based on like racial discrimination, things like that. It was really interesting. And then I would come back and I would go to class. And I went to class from like until like 6 p.m. And then after that was when all the organization stuff started. So then I would have different board meetings and executive board meetings and things of that nature. And then usually just like grab dinner at the Rat.
For me, I'd always have a lot of classes in the morning, so I'd drag myself out of bed at like 8, and then I literally just had class from about 9 until 2, and so I just wouldn't eat all day. And then I'd go get like a snack, and then I'd take a nap, and then get dinner with friends at the dining 2 a.m.
Wow, what a day.
Yeah.
How did you get involved?
I really rely on CaneFest, which is, if you don't know what it is, it's like a bunch of orgs from campus, and you just go around in a circle basically. You can sign up for as many things as you want, and you can get really involved. And so I knew like the kind of clubs I wanted to go into. And so while I went there, I was just like, okay, this is what I want. Okay, I'm going to there. No, I don't need that club. I don't need that club. Ooh, but I definitely want to go there. And I like signed up for everything, and then you just start getting emails and tons of emails, and then you just start going to club meetings, and then you meet friends, and then you see what clubs they're in, and then you follow them, and then it just spreads from there.
Yeah, I also found my involvement through CaneFest, but I'm kind of like the opposite of Raymond. I really didn't know what I was looking for, so I went like club happy and crazy. I thought everything looked super cool, so I wrote down my email for like 25 clubs, which is really excessive. Don't do that. But after they were able, like they sent me emails, kind of like what their clubs were about, their meeting times, and I was able to narrow it down to 3 or 4, and that's basically how I chose my like main involvements from CaneFest.
I would say that the reason I chose my main involvements would have to do with the like values and the things that they supported. So if you're a very like service oriented person, there are a bunch of service organizations that are very specific, so you can get into like different outreach things that you want to do. If you're a community based person, there's a lot of different communities that you can be part of here on campus, and then they're like there are professional ones. It's whatever you value, whatever you prioritize, you can be part of.
How do you manage your academics and your extracurricular activities? So this is going back to that balance aspect of it. But yeah.
I know last year I had a big problem where I was struggling to balance my 15 or 17 credits with my 2 jobs, with my 4 organizations, and I just got really overwhelmed. So I sat down with a friend, and I used like an online schedule maker, and I blocked off like classes and work because like those are non-negotiables. And then I like looked, and I was like, all right, so if I want to do this club, it meets at this time this week. And if I want to do this club, well, that's 3 times a week. Like that's harder. And so I really like had to pick and choose. And eventually I just had to be like, all right, this club I can't be a part of. I'm gonna go back this year, I think, but like I just had to put it on the back burner and really focus on other things.
Yeah, I'm more of a morning person, so I'm crazy, I know, I don't mind waking up early to go to classes. So like ideally I would schedule my classes to be more in the morning, early afternoon. So then in the afternoon, like I volunteer at Holtz Children's Hospital, which is down by the health district in downtown. So I usually use like the afternoon time to go do my volunteering for my job as well. And then I have room for those clubs. Sometimes I do have to schedule a class in the afternoon, but usually I'll have it be like a Tuesday or Thursday, and I use the Monday, Wednesday, Friday to do those other involvements.
Something I would say about balance is that remember that it's a consistent process. It's okay to be a little off and then recenter yourself. I guess every semester has been different for me in terms of like where I am balance wise. I think it's really important, like Raymond said, to block off classes, but also to block off studying time. So like specifically set aside time to do your work so that you don't just pass it over. Another thing I would say about balance is that sleep is very important. They don't tell you that in college. Everyone's like, oh, I got 1 hour last night. I got 2 hours last night. Kind of like bragging. That's like not good for you mentally. Sleep's important.
Yeah, I'm gonna bounce off Christine. I had one semester, I think it was my spring semester, my sophomore year, where I had absolutely no balance and I didn't set aside time for studying. So I spent my weekends basically doing work and studying, and it was not a fun semester. So Christine's advice was very helpful to block off those times for sleep and study, because if not, you'll go a little wild.
Your mental health is important.
It is. And sleep is like a huge part of that, but you don't really block sleep into your life. You're kind of just like, okay, whatever's left over, I'm just gonna quickly take a nap and get back to work. So you've all talked a little bit about not only involvements but also work. Can you talk a little bit about how you found your jobs and how you kind of figured out which jobs you wanted to be a part of?
Sure. So last year I worked for, like I said before, the school readiness lab, which was in the psych department. I had a friend that was working at it. She kind of recommended it to me. And I went in and I said that, hi, I'm a passionate student. I love what you guys are doing. Like, can I be a part of it? And they hired me, which is great. And then this year, I'm actually a library research scholar. So I'm going to be working in Richter Library, forming a research project of my own, but also at the help desk, helping students with like whatever they need resource-wise, because the library has like a plethora of resources that students don't even realize. So, and I found that one similarly through a friend that was already working and recommended it to me.
At my job, I work in the student center at the information desk, and I found it through the Office of Student Employment, and then they just like hired me during the first week of school, so that was pretty cool, although stressful during orientation, also having like a job interview. But then I was a first-year fellow last year, and then this year I'm going to be a security assistant in the dorms. And so those ones, usually at the end of the first semester, they have like information sessions for resident assistant as well. And then you just go sit through an information session, and then early spring you have interviews and do all that kind of stuff. And then most people get hired because we need a lot of people in the dorms.
Yeah, so my sophomore year, I also worked in the psychology department. I worked in the early play and development lab as a research assistant. And I basically found that through one of my classes. A grad student came in basically saying that they were interested in looking for research assistants for their labs, and they had a paper to sign up with emails. And I put my email, and they interviewed me, and I was able to get the position. I've had that happen multiple times, so you might experience that in some of your classes. Right now, I'm working in the Office of Admissions, and I found that through JobX, which is a great resource to look. They have a variety of jobs. They have student assistant jobs, off-campus jobs. They have a little bit of everything there. So if you are interested in working, I would highly recommend looking in JobX.
What is your favorite thing about being a king?
I think my favorite thing is like all the different friends I have, and like I know that's like a pretty popular answer, but also like the different groups of friends, because like I have my friends that share the same major as me, and then I have my friends that I work with, and then my friends that have the same club interests, and then my friends that were on my floor in the dorms and stuff. And so like it's okay to have a bunch of different versions like of friends and groups, because then I can be like a little bit different version of myself with each one.
I would say that I think my favorite part of UM is just like the fact that we're in Miami. So I think that people like almost like underestimate just how much our campus culture is affected by the melting pot of diversity that is Miami. And everything is 20 minutes away. There's literally something to do all the time. I'm clearly not like a small college town kind of person. I love that there's art, there's music, there's passion literally everywhere. So I think it's really cool that you can be within campus and like still have part of that community, but then go branch out and find other places to go.
Yeah, my favorite part is basically all the resources and like events they have for students, even during the weekday. Like on Thursdays, I love going to patio jams, which is right. It's basically on the lakeside patio, and they have student bands play, and I just grab my food and I hang out and I chill. I've met some friends just talking about like music and stuff we have in common. And they do Kane's Night Live like once a month, which I love, and like Trivia Tuesdays at the Rat. Like there's always a bunch of stuff going on campus that it's like free, basically put on by the students for already know.
What is one opportunity offered by UM you wish you would have taken advantage of, or that you look forward to taking advantage of?
Like freshman Christy walked straight up to the table of interest to be a Sebastian Ibis, and I was told that I was too short. So I find that incredibly sad. But audition to be Sebastian the Ibis because he's the coolest person ever.
Nice.
For me, I coming into college, I knew I wanted to study abroad, and I was like, I don't know where, I don't know when, but I want to. And like now that I'm older and I can see like my schedule and stuff, I don't think I'm gonna be able to. So I wish I could. But study abroad is definitely a good opportunity. We have places all over the globe, all different kind of programs. If you want to go with UM, without UM, and it's just really awesome. And I wish I could do it.
For me, it was not walking into Topple Career Center because I'm the type of person that my senior year I had my life planned out to the T, and my sophomore year I had the existential college life crisis. And had I gone to Topple, I probably wouldn't have been as stressed out, and they would have helped me change my major and do a career assessment. But I didn't, and I found out after the fact about it. So yeah, they have a lot of resources that you can look into to take off that stress. And if you do go through an existential life crisis, go to Topple. Learn from my mistakes.
What is your go-to place to eat on campus?
Vicky's, 100%. So it's a Cuban bakery that opened up last year, and it's God's gift to this campus. I go every day. It's magical. The people there are very
And like you're just like every other Friday, Cold Stone comes, and so you get ice cream, or like on Tuesdays there's like a school truck, and so there's always something to get on campus that's like very much from Miami, and so it's a big like culture thing.
My favorite place, I'm gonna say it again, it's Einstein's Bagels. I love carbs, I love bread. I could crave it any time of day, any day of the week. And also they have super friendly and great staff. Shout out to Mary Jo. I'm her baby cake. Everyone's her baby cake. I think we can all attest
Yep.
attest
I've
to
been
that.
called
So
baby
yeah,
cake.
Einstein's is great.
Okay, I have one more question before we take questions from the audience. So there are, aside from involvements, there's also like different opportunities, like not particularly an organization that you can get involved with, but there's definitely like different opportunities to, I know Topple sometimes does their career crawls and stuff like that. Have any of you taken part in something similar to that, like a trip or anything offered by the University of Miami that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so last fall I was part of Leadership U Miami, which is through the Butler Center for Leadership and Service. It was a seminar series leading up to a trip about social justice and getting involved in your community. And it was magical. We went to Washington D.C. and we just learned. We had multiple groups and we all chose a social justice issue to research on a local, state, and national level, and things that we can all be doing and getting involved with. And it just opened up like a whole new door of passion in my life. It's magical. Butler Center, awesome.
Yeah, I did. I forgot specifically which one it was, but I think it was maybe a day of service. I don't know if it was Hurricanes Help the Hometown. But after when we got back from helping out the nonprofits in our community, they kind of had different organizations with booths set up, and that's how I heard about alternative breaks. And I applied for it, and I got accepted. And basically, what it is that it highlights social justice issues in education. So during fall break, I was able to go to Haines City, Florida, which is about 20 minutes from Orlando. And me and a group of students for 4 days, we lived and we worked amongst the homeless community. We helped serve their meals. We built them a basketball court. We actually put on shirts and went out and asked for money and gave out newspapers on the street. So we really got to experience it. And yeah, it was a really life-changing experience for me. It's what caused my existential life crisis. So yeah, it was really awesome.
For me, I'm part of 2 marine science orgs, and so we do beach cleanups, which is always really fun because then you go out and who doesn't like going to the beach on one of the beautiful days here in Miami. But then you're really giving back and cleaning up all the trash and learning about recycling, and then you come back and you have a barbecue, and it's just good team bonding and giving back.
So it seems like we have no questions from the audience at this time, which is totally okay. If you have any questions after watching this, tomorrow, later on today, feel free to ask us, and we can reach out to our student panel again to see if they have a couple answers for you. But that concludes our webinar today. Thank you all for coming. Please check back in 2 weeks from now for our last webinar. It's going to be about arrival, and we'll be talking about housing and different steps that you should be taking to prepare for your arrival. That's why it's called arrival. But thank you for watching. Follow us on social media to get more updates on webinars and other things pertaining to orientation. That's all for today. Bye.
Love you, Booking.
Yes. Good. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Someone just said question.